Good morning, friends. I'm sorry we had to meet under these circumstances. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know it's been a big delay on this. I wasn't going to get it. I don't like the way it looks, so I wasn't in for my collection. I was waiting until I knew somebody was getting a hold of it that I could take a look. I did the review, and I think I was lenient. I was lenient because I know people that bought it, that liked it, people that I care about, and I think I was trying to be lenient for the sake of them, but the truth is, that's not being true to myself. So although my criticisms are very objective in this review, I'm going to let you know right now, I don't like it. Things fall off of it, things aren't glued into it properly, things move weird. I don't care for it, plain and simple. I don't like it. And I ended up breaking a piece on it when I went to transform it back. I have footage of that. I'm going to cut it in towards the end. If you like it, of course, you win. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Come On Down, Auto Brad's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at DX9's Gewalt or some such stuff. It's their Blitzwing. Let's not waste too much time on it, shall we? He comes with a few accessories. We're going to get into it here. Actually, let's just get into it straight away. We'll come back to this big old fella. Comes with replacement hips for Chigger, their Astra Train, with like a soft ratchet joint out. It's the same universal, but it ratchets out, but not front and back. But it is a nice tolerance front and back. This was sent to me by a good friend of mine, Robert D., who was actually ended up becoming I don't want to get too much into it. It's not an A&E biography, but he looked out for me one time, which is a situation I will never forget. And he's a dear friend of me. And he also made me say that I had to say "like so" as much as I can in this review. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, this was a nice thought of them. Apparently, the Chiggers that have been released since the second batch onward have had this already installed on it. But to provide it is nice. Would have been nice if you could even buy it separately, but that's a separate conversation that maybe we can have as a discussion topic one day. He also comes with this gun, a very Blitzwing-esque. No paint on it, but a good sculpt, and not too much else to comment on there. Our favorite thing, ladies and gents, a giant sword with a translucent blade that looks pretty cool, and a sizable hilt and so forth. Not a lick of paint, but decent enough. And then the other sort of blaster with DX9 sculpted on there, which is a bit narcissistic. And I'll be honest with you, it does kind of bother me. Not in principle. I understand wanting to sign your work, but I just don't like the look of it. I don't want it to say DX9 on it. As much as they may love themselves, I don't feel like I need that on my firearm for my transforming toy. You may feel differently, and it's okay to have different opinions, in spite of what social media may tell you. Anyway, this is a alternate face, angry face, for Blitzwing, and it's good enough. It has a silver paint finish on there. No differentiation between mouth, teeth, and face, but it's fine. He's huge. I'm not entirely crazy about it. It's just a little too wide, I think. It's a little too much. There it is next to Tiger Tracks, just for a size comparison. I mean, it's a big mamma jamma, and it's cool. It's not hateful, but it just looks a little too wide for how I view the vehicle mode anyway. The turret swivels and the barrel raises up and down, so that's nice. As far as paint and detailings, we have the silver paint. We have this, it looks like there's purple plastic with this beige paint here and red paint. The red looks good and so forth. Underneath, not the cleanest, but not the worst. We have a lot of plastic here, and it doesn't look like a lot of paint, but maybe it does have paint. I don't think so. I can't tell. There's definitely parts that do not. but it looks good enough. The yellow looks good. I'm not crazy about the head. Look, originally in the original cut, I said I'll show you later when I had it transform because I had the head down here. This is the other way that you can have it, but the head sticks out a little far. This thing here does a good job of covering the face, but I think ultimately the best way to have it is this head tucked around the corner like we're showing it. Peekaboo. But it's okay. You know, it's not the best cleanup down here. Like that's a little strange. But it's not the worst either. Do you know what I mean? I think it's fine. I think it's definitely acceptable. If not the best. This stuff here, just I don't know. It looks just a little off. You know, not horrible, but a little off. And you can also plug in the sword into one of these top parts if you really feel the need to. But you know, I don't for sure. Let's get started. Open up the wings here. Accordion the treads out, extend these down, it's a tight little tolerance there, and flip around. So same for the other side. That's really tight. You know how I feel about sliding joints anyway. And tab back in. Pull these side pieces out, which is easier said than done, in my opinion. There's one, there's the other. Once they're unpegged, you can remove this piece entirely, and then you can pull these out and open up all this. On the bottom, take these two pieces and extend them straight out. This is a little difficult to do on camera just because of the size, but this whole back flap that you have, you got to wrap it back around on itself. It'll tab in right there. Then this comes down. When you get to this section here, this piece double hinges up. These fold down, and then this comes back down and locks it in. Now for these rear wings, the instructions don't have this bottom wing even on them, but there is enough clearance. You just got to be kind of extra careful. They rub against each other just slightly, and then you can get this up in position straight up, and then this wing out to the side. You're just trying to orient it how it seems to be, you know what I mean, like the natural way. So once again, on this side, just use this end, and there's just barely enough to get by with a little bit of scratching or rubbing, and then they're done. Now this underside, like, I have found that I kind of like this head tucked around to the bottom of here when it's in tank mode, which is an option, but it's not necessary, and it does look unsightly, but what it's supposed to be is shown down in there. These pieces here also you can have any way you want. I think you can have them down like this, or you can have them, I kind of like having them gripped around there. Doesn't matter. But you want to tuck this head, if it's not already, down like that. Then, on this side, flip up this piece. Now, open these pieces up, if they're not already. Bring out this whole middle bit, and that should allow the head to move through. Close this up like so, Robert, and take, oh, you know what, I forgot one thing. So take this piece, flip it up like you got, it's hard to explain. Let me see if I can't get you a better angle. Open this up, this part, fold this part. Then you can circle this around and lay it like that, and then bring it back around and lay it down. And it's fairly intuitive in spite of how it may seem. And then bring this up, and bring your nose cone up, and your nose cone, and they'll peg together. Then on the underside you can just close these pieces straight down. So take these back tabs and you can just rotate them 180 degrees inside, and then these silver bits here you kind of got to rotate them 180 degrees, which is not the best tolerance either. So you get the purple bits. You can then loosen these up, extend them out. Alright, so the goal here is to get the elbow facing the outside, and it's just a lot of steps you got to go through in order to make that happen. So just kind of manipulate it until you get the, goodness gracious, this is the part that I enjoy the least, so that you get this silver bit here sitting on top and the screws up, and then wrap the elbow back around on top of itself. Before you do, you got to take this piece and flip it around to hide the joint, and then that should sit nice and relatively flush. And this, what's going on here? Oh, this piece is coming in. All right. All right, so that at least preps it. Same thing. Rotate it so that you can manipulate this ratchet here to move this around so that the silver bit is up. Move your gray piece to cover up the joint, and then rotate the elbow so that that's out and that sits flush. And now that's prepped. Open this up again, flip these pieces up, pull these pieces out to the side, and we need to lift this panel, which is here, the line is there, up just enough. Be careful of these wings, they'll get jammed up in there too. But just enough so that we can take our arm section and bring them around to the bottom. Once they're here, we can bring that piece up just for a second. Tuck these pieces nice and clean away. I'm not sure if we may need to close that. Tell you what, let's just close it all back. Yep. So these pieces got to go down first. And then that should sit nice and tight, and then you can collapse these and they'll peg into the sides. Easy for me to say. Now, just a matter of cleaning up, make sure the wings are straight. You can extend these landing gear. There's one here that's a little loose, and then one here and here. And we'll get them cleaned up and take a look at her. And, you know, overall, I think they did a pretty good job. It's a little on the flat side, but that looks like it's going to be a problem across the board. But I like this. I like the translucent little bits there. And I like the red, how the red lines up, and it's pretty cool. I don't have any real complaints. I wonder if these, I'm probably supposed to turn those a bit. And then you can adjust these. I guess you're not really supposed to. The landing gear flip up as far as features and stuff, but that's about it. But I think it does look pretty good. We got ports there, so you can probably tab in your weapons, and you know they're the same ones on top of the tank. So I don't think you would want to do that. I wonder if, I wish there was a way, and there may be. Quick correction: this does tab in there, but it doesn't look very good. I wonder if it would be better if it could have been centered somewhere, but I don't see a place for it to be centered. I mean, that doesn't look terrible, but it's definitely not for me. I think they did a real decent job. Some of the stuff could clean up a little bit better, but like that tabs in there, and you can see that that's supposed to tab in there. Let's see if we can't fix it. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, am I right? So yeah, they did a really good job of cleaning it. You know, it doesn't look like a whole lot of it is out of place. Maybe this bit, but overall it looks like everything is where it's supposed to be. And there's a size comparison of him with a very dusty Masterpiece Skywarp. So he's a big boy. You know, there's no doubt about it. But I don't hate it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with his jet being a bigger. I don't know anything about jets, but a T14 is bigger than a Z15. I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying, looking at them together doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? So let's get into robot mode. These blemishes here are both from cutting it off the sprue, it seems, and they're on both sides of mine. Not sure if they'll be on yours. Unplug the feet here. Turn them around. Unplug these and fold them to the back. Plug these back in. Fold the feet down, and then these are on a double hinge that you can see there that actually give me a little bit of problems, but not today. And just get those sorted. You know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know why they're on a double hinge. Let's see. I don't know why just leave. I think maybe leaving them there might be a better choice. Like just flat there, but I might be wrong. We'll take a look later. But there you go. Put your landing gear down. The front one probably has already collapsed on itself because it doesn't stay out very well. Pull these out. Pull this out. Flip these up. And just get them out of the way. Easy for me to say. There. It's the same type of thing that we did where we had to rearrange the wings. So untab them. They've got to flip back around to the front, and there is some slight clearance issues, but it shouldn't pose too much of a problem. On this side, you got to start getting these arms sorted. So let's see here. It's hard to get a grip on these puppies. There we go. Get that out of the way. And get this one out of the way as well. And that just gives you room to work, because you got to get these up, and you got to get these arms out. Now, it kind of just starts to become relatively intuitive, but obviously the arms have to go out to the side. Get these down. Open this up. There. It's hard to get a hold of that. And then I'll put this back on. So don't grab it by the thumb, but there's not an easy place that I can see to get it out. There. Maybe you get your fingernail right in there. Can you see that? Right in there. That might help. There. I'll do the same. Close it up here too. This part seems complicated, but is relatively intuitive. This swivels here and this hinges here. So it also hinges here at the base. This is how we had it. So we're going to fold it up so that you can see the double hinge there. We're going to fold this arm out to the side so that that flat base is flat, so to speak. And then we're going to close that down. Wrap this around. Nope. Oh, it does go up inside there. There. And then this sits flush on that side. So we'll do that again. So we had the arm like this. Flip this so that this locks back into there. You want to rotate the arm around, which is a little tricky. We can rotate this piece in all the way right now, though. it's just hard. It's hard to, there. And then out to the side. Close this back up. And then you have your arms. Built. So we do all that so that we can stay oriented. Obviously this can't stay like this because we have to get this all through the front, but open these up now that you've got them built, so to speak. You got to get these up, which is not the easiest thing to do, but not impossible either. And I'll tell you, I've had 2 of these pop out on me now. Around the back, open up your little flap so that we can get the head through, so to speak. And then we're going to collapse all this back down. So we split and rotate down. They are pointy, these little bits. And then split and rotate down. And these nose cone pieces will fit on the sides of the bot. And this will tab in to the waist. And then this will close up. And these pieces here will actually clip on to the side of his chest. You hear that click? That's pretty cool. And I'm not sure if I've seen anything quite like that before. It's always nice to see some new engineering. And we'll get them all cleaned up, of course, at the end, but that's where we're at right now. Alright, basically now it's just cleaning stuff up. So we're going to flip these pieces down on a double hinge and fold that in and fold this in. We're going to flip these down. This peg will go into there. And then we can separate the legs. And these here, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have to consult because the instructions doesn't account for these purple wings. So I'm going to have to do some research. Alright, so here he is, and as you can see, he holds his weapons just fine. There's this one, which he doesn't really hold all that well, and maybe he's not even supposed to. I mean, it'll stay in there, but, you know, and I know this is supposed to be like a tool to help you transform the thing, but it definitely has a gun look to it, so I feel like it would have been cooler had they made it double for something, but whatever, it doesn't matter, it's just small potatoes. And then there's this, collapse the barrel, pull this back piece out, flip that up, this push there, that pushes this top piece up. Oh my god, there's a lot of tolerance issues with this thing, and that up there, and then you have a gun, and he can hold that. Now I know a lot of you are probably, actually there's probably so many that have probably already commented in the comments that his wings aren't right. I know they aren't right, we're going to get there in a minute, but I just happen to like this particular look for Blitzwing. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to put this back together. Alright, we're going to go around to the back, we're going to plug it in, which does plug in fairly well. This has come unplugged. And then you can collapse this wing here and pull that wing out and flip it down. It's on a double hinge. And to show you from this angle, there. And that's him. So let's talk about him. The head is on a ball peg, and it gets you basically nothing up, nothing down, but the swivel is there. You have a red light piping, which just doesn't look appropriate for a masterpiece figure, and then this yellow plastic, which isn't painted, which doesn't look great either, but it is there. You have these shoulders. Now this hinge here, you can do this look if you want, but nobody, I think, will really want to do that. It's just not accurate. But I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if I don't think it looks better or worse. The shoulders aesthetically are a problem for me, and I think they're going to be a problem for me across the board with these MP Blitzwings that are coming, but this one really bothers me. The shoulders, we have a ratcheted swivel here, and then this goes up. I didn't put this piece down because I'm not crazy about the way that looks either, but I'll use my tool. But this piece actually flips here, and if you do that, you can get the articulation all the way up to there. Once again, the only paint we have is that little bit of silver there. Bicep swivel, double hinged elbow, no paint on the forearm, and a wrist swivel. The thumb actually is kind of cool. People have been complaining about these hands, but the thumb is on a swivel here, and then a ball peg. Now that may be a little bit redundant, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't like it. And then the thumb has a hinge here. The fingers, you have an individually articulated bar one knuckle, index finger for a trigger finger, so that's cool. And then the bottom ones are on a single pin at the knuckle, and then the next knuckle up hinge, and that's all good. I do feel like the hands are a little big. You know, it's more of a proportion issue than a design issue, but that's just my opinion. Yours may be different. We'll get this out and we'll flip this other piece out using our DX9 tool. And then we'll put this back. Articulation is the same on that side. The paint on the chest looks good. The silver there, that vent keeps falling out on me, but it looks good. The yellow paint here, blue translucent, red paint, silver paint, that all looks good. The silver paint down at the bottom looks good. The red paint there looks good. You have a waist swivel. Yes, sweetheart? Yeah, give me a minute. Yep, give me a minute. Sorry. Waist swivel, it's on a ratchet. That works fine. You got these hip skirts. They flip up here. They're on a ball peg. Yeah, a ball peg both sides. The silver paint's done well. That allows you to use the universals, which are ratcheted forward, up to there, back to there, and then out to there. Now this ratchet is much weaker than that ratchet. Not sure why, but this one is good to go front and back. Knees, double jointed. It's like a weird ratchet down there at the bottom and a hard ratchet at the top. Getting you, I think, as much range as you could possibly want. The gray does have a paint finish on it, which looks good. And then down at the bottom, we have this kind of weird foot assembly, which isn't actually the worst thing I've ever seen. But we got to talk about this, right? This is a problem. Like, this isn't on anywhere in the instructions. And there's a weird bit of business going on there. Can you see the difference in finish there? Right where that, see how that's shinier right in that little spot? So that's a little strange. But I guess they want you, and this just fell off too. There's a lot of that going around in this figure. So, like, I guess they want you to just pop this off the ball joint, but I'm not comfortable doing that. So, like, I would want this out, and then maybe, I don't know. I don't know what looks best down there. Nothing looks finished. And these wings don't look accounted for. So that's not the best. You know, you could probably just take them off, but I don't like it. I don't like it design-wise. It's not on the instructions. It's like not accounted for. It's like a mystery. It's like a ghost. Ankle rocker here is on a swivel. And then you have a foot tilt, which is basically an ankle tilt. But it's more like a toe tilt. And then on the back you have a heel spur. So that gets you your rocker, and that actually works really well. So I don't have any real complaint about the feet. But I do, it probably helps. The heel spur probably does help. And then the back, I think the back looks great. I think the back actually looks better than the front, but that's just my own personal opinion. These nose cones here are unsightly to me as well. And there he is, size comparison-wise, next to a Seeker and next to their Astro Train. So, you know, the size feels good. It's just, you know, maybe size isn't everything. Final thoughts-wise, this is a real mixed bag. First of all, I want to apologize to Robert D. I know I didn't say like so. I'm just so cognizant of it that I just have a hard time even saying it for the review. But the rear wings, you know, not having them in the instructions, And I'm sure there's ways to find out what to do, you know what I mean? But like, if you just get this thing, I don't know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And I think I kind of like that best, but I'm not even sure what I like best, to be quite honest. Because there's just a number of different options, and none of them are quite what I want them to be, bar just taking those things off. So that's an issue. It's obvious to me that they weren't counting on them at first, because they're not in the instructions and so on and so forth. I wish the tank, you know, was a little bit better proportionally, but I can easily get over that. That's not a big deal to me. The landing gear is a little loose, but those are all like nitpicks things. There's a couple joints that are loose, like that left wrist, for instance, is a little loose. There's some pieces that don't move very well, like they're too stiff, and they're transforming pieces, so it becomes aggravating to kind of get them to work properly. And a lot of it is double hinge, so you know, when you're manipulating a double hinge, you want that to be smooth, because you know, it feels like it's constantly trying to work against you anyway. So adding a tough tolerance to that only worsens the entire process. There's also some pieces that aren't glued in on this one that are falling off, the vents in his shoulders specifically. But most of my complaints with this guy are aesthetic complaints. I don't like the nose cones on his hips. I don't like the gap between the head and the chest. I don't like the shoulders. I don't like a lot of stuff. Now, I know these aren't that's not the proper way for the wings. I just happen to like them like that. I just think it makes them look more menacing, but I know that's not right. I think that light piping has no place on a masterpiece. No place. Get it out of here. I don't like it. I think that more of this needed to have finished paint. The parts that they did paint look good, but a lot of parts that they didn't paint look very plain, and it ends up making it look very toyish. Alright, so I broke it, which is pretty awesome. These pieces here, these flaps on Roberts, they plug in there, the chest pieces, and you'll see it. This is after I've already done my final thoughts and stuff, so that's a real bummer. And I broke it. I broke it trying to put it back in, and that little tab there broke. So it goes on to just fuel the fire that's kind of been burning for this figure. Be careful, but be careful with those little tabs. There's nothing about it that's an instant turn off. You know, it's only until you start getting into it that it starts turning you off. You know, there's nothing about it that's like an instant. Like, for instance, if you live in Maryland or the Mid-Atlantic area right now, I know you know about something that's going around these days, weather-wise, that's an instant turn-off. Just need to get the mail. Nope, too hot for that. There's definitely problems with them. You know, there's tolerance problems. There's moving pieces problems. There's stuff falling off problems. There's stuff unaccounted for problems. There's lack of paint. There's lack of aesthetic design. There's all sorts of problems. But he's got a good weight. He's made of good materials. He has good articulation. He has appropriate accessories. The transformation is relatively fun, which is saying something for a triple changer. I can easily say it is the most fun triple changing third-party transformer to date, engineering-wise, without a doubt. Now, that's not to say that it's a total riot, because it's not. It's just to say that in comparison to Sandstorm, in comparison to Astrotrain, in comparison to Evil Star, in comparison to all the third-party triple changing robots that I've messed with, Provider, the Octane, this has been the most fun to transform to all three modes, and all three modes look pretty good. So that has to be accounted for also. So I would say that if you like the way that this looks, and you can deal with a few annoying issues, you'll be fine. So do I recommend it? It's a soft recommend. I personally think with two other Blitzwings potentially coming, one from Fanstoys, which is, you know, they're a heavy hitter in the game, and one from KFC, and KFC's reflector was pretty good. I think it's worth waiting to see how things shake out on this. I don't think anything is selling out anytime soon, and I think it's worth playing the waiting game to make one purchase and see how it turns out after an informed opinion, which is what I am hoping to be giving you. But overall, I think it's fine. The question is fine good enough for you? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.